A lot of times when people talk about a leap of faith, the way that their actions are is more like a step of faith.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, it's kind of like, it's like, I'm about to take this leap, but they really just take like this little bitty step. You know, like, yeah, but yeah, it's kind of like, you know how you get in the pool and you trying to put your toe in the water, like, should I get in this pool? Like, no, when you taking a leap of faith, that's jumping all the way in the pool. What's going on, family? It is Dr. Willie Patton here yet again for another purpose experience presented to you by Winning Paradigm. Listen, we are here to help people learn and live in and leverage their purpose and do what God is calling them to do. And I'm so excited today because I have the profound privilege of sitting here with none other than Sister Traci Brown. Traci, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Fantastic. Listen, hey, I know you well, but the people may not know how fantastic you are or what you got going on with United to Bless. Listen, I failed to mention that she's also the founder and CEO of United to Bless. And I'm gonna let her tell us a little bit about that, but I'm telling you, it's just magnificent. Traci, tell us a little bit about who you are and what United to Bless is.
Okay, so who am I? Like Dr. Will said, I am Traci Brown and the founder and CEO of United to Bless. I am a city girl from Cleveland, and I'm just a person who really loves their city. So United to Bless is a nonprofit organization that I started back in 2008. And the reason why I started it was because I had a passion to help youth. And I wanted to help youth develop life skills because I saw that a lot of times there was a lack in just sportsmanship, common courtesy, basic life skills that you need to know, managing money, just navigating through life in a respectful way. And so I thought, you know, like, how can I help them? What can I do to help move this thing along, this lack that I saw? And so I decided to try and start a program with youth by using athletics through athletic development. Because I always thought that me being an athlete, it helped me in so many different areas. It helped me with discipline. It helped me to just take care and just really love something that I was doing. And it helped me to communicate and relate to people. So I thought that athletics would be a good way to try to help teach those skills, those life skills.
Oh, fantastic. Now, you mentioned that you being an athlete. Now, what many people may not know is that I met Traci, you know, while we were young teenagers, and she was a beast on the court back then. So you don't want to mess with her on the court, everybody. I just want to give you
that was back then.
Yeah, I want to let y'all know. Oh, she said she don't got it no more. She said she don't got it no more. But listen, the reason why I brought that up is because I'm wondering what transpired, or when did you experience that revelation, you know, from back then to when you started United to Bless, that this was the venue or the vehicle that God wanted me to use? You know, like, tell me about that. Like, how did you, when was that, like, eureka moment where it was like, I think God want me to do this?
Yeah, because it was all around me. So my very first job was at Martin D. Porter's, St. Martin D. Porter's Family Center with Mr. Calloway in the youth department. And from there, I just realized, like, this is where my passion is. I love the community. I loved being a help to people. And then I also had a very special place in my heart for the family unit. And so, and then my church, Cleveland Church of Christ, where I grew up, I was very involved in the youth department there. So I just had a very special concern and care for youth and their development.
Oh, fantastic. Now, I do know that it's called United to Bless, but we don't know why did you come up with that name? Like, why United to Bless and not Bless the Youth or something else?
I stumbled upon the name. So I had someone helping me with just the initial startup, becoming chartered with the state, all of that good paperwork. So
and when was that?
This was in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I remember sitting in his office with him, and we were at the computer, and he was helping me with my mission statement, all of that. And so he said, so what's the name of your nonprofit? And so I said, Blessed to be a Blessing. And so we looked it up, and he said, oh, that name is taken. And so I didn't really have a lot of time to think of another name because we was there. I didn't want to lose the time that I had with him because he was helping me out. And so he thought about it, and he said, well, think about nonprofits that are out right now. And so he named some things like United Way and some other organizations. And so I said United, and then I was like, well, what about United to Bless? And so because I didn't want to remove the blessing part, because that's what it's all about. You know, I just want to be a blessing to other people, and not just want to be a blessing, but I want them to feel good. I want them to feel like I'm blessed, you know, like I just received a blessing. I feel really blessed right now.
Yes, you just blessed me with that. Like, y'all see how she just, that was a bar. She said, I didn't want to remove the blessing. And I think that's one of the issues when it comes to people trying to pursue their dreams or walk in purpose. Unfortunately, we get so caught up in following the money or doing what's going to pay well to where it distracts us from doing where the blessing or following where the blessing is. Right. You know, I believe it's very important to follow purpose as opposed to following the paycheck or maybe doing something because my parents said that I should do it like this. People living vicariously through us. And a lot of times, you know, we may look at some things that we want and we mess around and trade our blessing, right? You know, for the pot of soup, you know, for the believers that's listening to us or watching us online, you know, you may be familiar with that story where he sold his birthright, you know, for his, you know, a fleshly tendency, you know, and I believe that it's very important to always hold on, you know, to where the blessing is. And the anointing, you know, when you say blessing, I also think about, you know, following the anointing. Now, kind of talk to me about, because you said that was in 2008, right? You know, the year that we're recording this is 2021. So kind of talk to me about how things started off and how, you know, where you are now with everything. Like, you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, it's a long journey. It's a long journey that had a lot of things, just a lot of moving parts in it that I thought was necessary. Let me rephrase that. There was a lot of parts I thought was necessary in order for me to move forward with it. So, like education, right? So I decided to start a nonprofit organization, I said, well, I need to know what I'm doing. I need to have some education behind this. And at that time, I was in between my educational journey. I wasn't sure if I wanted a bachelor's degree. I had just completed my associate's degree, and it was just kind of like me just being all over the place.
What was your associate's?
General studies, because I started with my associates. I initially went for early childhood education, and I realized I didn't want to do that. So I knew I wanted to help families, and I knew I wanted to be involved in the community. So I was preparing to start at Cleveland State, and I was looking through their degrees. And I was like, hey, they got a nonprofit administration degree. I didn't know nothing about it, you know. So long story short, I enrolled in Cleveland State in that program. And I loved that program because it just allowed me to apply my life experience. Like, I'm like, I already work in nonprofit. This is what I've been doing. So I know this. The thing that really blessed me in that program was the grant writing piece and all of that, because that was foreign to me. So that's what happened.
Beautiful. Now, were there any ups and downs, any trials or tribulations that you were met with that you believe will be helpful for people to be aware of?
I listened to people, and I shouldn't have, but I didn't know that I shouldn't have listened, because what they said wasn't healthy for me, but they didn't say it out of an unhealthy place. Like,
what did they say?
So basically, I remember having a conversation with somebody about United to Bless and what I wanted to do. And they said, well, you got to know what you're doing. If you're going to do that, you need to know what you're doing. So in my mind, that put me in a place where if I don't have this down, it's not going to work. So that held me back for a long time.
Now, when you say a long time, like, what's a
Years.
long time? Years. Oh, when you say years, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, like, what's like a time frame range you would say?
I would say that held me back for a good 4 years.
Wow. So what is it that, because that's like getting a degree, right? So
Fear. That was fear. Me being fearful of the pursuit of it, thinking that it had to be perfect, number one, and it does not. It does not have to be perfect. But I thought that it did have to be perfect. So I think I was, instead of focusing on the now and what I'm able to do and how I'm able to help now, I was looking at the bigger picture. Like, how is this going to look later on? And it didn't look good. So I was just like, maybe I should hold off, and maybe I should learn more. Maybe I should take my time with this, So
what sparked the shift, in your mindset, that transition from, okay, I shouldn't start this now, I'm not ready, to let me go ahead and get this thing off the ground?
My surroundings changed. So the people that I had surrounded myself with helped that shift. They helped me to realize that it didn't have to be perfect. If something is in you, go ahead and pursue it.
Oh, that's good.
Especially for me, because I couldn't let it go. Like, it wouldn't leave me. Like, how, like, you have something in your heart that just won't go away. That was this is that.
Nice. Yeah, and that's when is what God is calling you to do. For the most part, that's one of the attributes that's affiliated with our purpose and our call. It's like that thing just won't leave you, and it's heavy in your spirit. I say one of, because I do think it's important for people to be aware of that thing that won't leave you needs to also be within an alignment with the will of God for your life. And sometimes we may have something in our heart that we want to do, but it's not what God says. And then that's why there's this conflict of interests, right, that's going on. But I think it's beautiful when what you have in your heart is also in alignment with what God has for you and the giftings that he has given you and blessed you with. So I think that is fantastic. Now, when you say that the surroundings switch, so that means more than likely they must have said some things that was a little more encouraging as opposed to what the initial people said, right? So in essence, it's not so much you made a mistake by listening to people. You just was listening to the wrong things. The book of Proverbs talks about, the wisdom of, that there's wisdom in a multitude of counsel, right? So who would you say are some individuals, and you don't have to say their names if you don't want, but who are like some individuals that kind of gave you some wise counsel that helped you get over that 4-year hump? You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, you know what? I'm about to walk in faith, and I'm gonna just try it. And so what if it's not perfect? Let me just kind of see, how this thing turns out.
So I'll answer that this way, because it's like God just sent me people. He sent me help. Like, and it came in random ways, you know, and it wasn't specific to United to Bless. It was just specific to life, you know, just encouraging me to be my best and not be afraid of that and not feel bad for that. You know, unfortunately, I didn't grow up in an environment that really encouraged confidence. And I don't even think they meant anything by it. It was just, you know, it wasn't, I didn't grow up thinking that was important. You know, like, I remember sometimes feeling like if I moved in confidence a little too much, that was doing too much. Like, so chill out, calm that down type of thing. And it's like the Lord just started surrounding me with people to let me know that that's okay. You know, you should be confident, you know, be bold, you know, be aggressive, go for it. I think one of the benefits for me, my natural personality is I'm a calm person. So I kind of won't approach a situation like, I don't think that would offend somebody, you know, like, what are you doing?
Right.
But I just had to learn that having that was really okay. And then, like I said, the Lord just sent me people. I remember having a conversation with somebody. This is after I decided to relaunch United to Bless. But another random phone call that I got from a gentleman, and he said, I got somebody I want you to talk to.
Nice.
And this was somebody who is a very successful entrepreneur. And she got on the phone and she said, tell me a little bit about what you're doing. So I told her about United to Bless. She said, I think that's awesome. And then she just said, one thing I want you to know is that if it's in your heart to do it. Don't worry about it being perfect. And that really stuck with me. And it helped me to just go for it.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you went for it, because in the same fashion that God sent some people to you to help you, I believe that God is using you in the same fashion. I've been watching just the work that you've been doing and just the way that you've been a blessing, not only to the community, but even some of the things that you kind of do that's not directly like in the community, but just the example that you are to women, and particularly as a woman of God. You know, I don't want to glance over that, because it's not easy to be a single woman of God and to actually walk in the fashion that you're walking. And I think that's an inspiration, you know, just to so many other women that want to do right by God, but they may have some struggles with it or feel like they're alone or things like that. Like what transpired to where what went down that prompts you to say, you know what, not only do I want to help people through United to Bless, but I also want to be a blessing, you know, to other women and things like that?
I think that it's just one of those things the Lord put in me. Because nobody ever told me to be that. You know, it's just a place in my heart that I have to be of help in that way, even if it is just through an example. And I want to be that, you know, I want to honor God in that way. I want to be found honoring God, you know. And you mentioned some of the sacrifices that come with that. It is a sacrifice, but it's worth it, you know. So there are times I cry, you know, I cry because it is lonely. And not that I don't have people around me, but it's sometimes you can get distracted from what you see in the world. You know, it's just like, especially with the social media, all of that, you kind of see what people are posting and how they're going about it. And you're like, oh, that look great. Meanwhile, on a Friday night, I'm not out, you know, I'm sitting at home because there's so much on my mind. And it's like, what do I do with all of this stuff that's downloading? So it does seem to be lonely at times, but that it only lasts for a moment, you know. So if anybody's watching, I do want to encourage you to just get through the moment. Yeah, it'll pass. Just get through the moment.
Now, be more practical, because somebody may be listening, you know, thinking like, okay, how do I get through the moment? How do I get through
the moment? Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and pray. And ask the Lord to help you through this moment. And he will help you. He will help you through the moment. And just remember that if you trust in God, you know, you may not be able to like see what he's doing, but he'll give you a peace in your heart, and you'll be able to just trust that he has you.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm able to get through those moments. But it took me a long time to learn that. You know, so my moments used to be like, if you ever see somebody that got electrocuted and their hair is just all over the place, that's how my moments would feel, you know, like I'm just shocked and I don't know what to do, and I'm just left with all of this, you know, but I had to learn that, but I'm glad I did, you know, so I just learned to just really rest in knowing that God got me.
Yeah, that's good. You know, the book of James talks about, if any man lacks wisdom, may he ask God, you know, and I think that's important for us to remember, that that's the first place that we need to start when we have any ambiguity on what we're dealing with or how to move forward. You know, let's touch and agree with God. But one thing that I wanted to pause and ask about, because we talked about a lot of the things that you're doing with United to Bless and the community type things you do, but you also, you know, you're a woman of many gifts, you know, and you also have t-shirts, you know, you customize t-shirts and things like that, and you're also working on a for-profit business as well. So kind of tell me or tell us a little bit about what you got there.
And so I came up with the name 4.2 and Co. 4.2 is my grandmother's birthday that passed away. And what I love about her is that she was a single mom of 8. It's a bunch of us grandkids, but she always taught us that whatever we put our minds to, we can do it. And I just wanted to honor her in that way and name the company after, you know, just have her in that some kind of way. But as far as the t-shirts go, I learned to make the t-shirts because, again, everything goes back to United to Bless. I'm just sorry. But I wanted to use t-shirts as a form of a fundraising. So I'm like, instead of paying somebody to make them, I can make them myself. Well, then that grew into, I can do custom t-shirts, you know, for people that don't have anything to do with United to Bless. And then too, I want to do headbands or head wraps, head scarves for women athletic teams, specifically of color, because, you know, our hair, we have to take care of it a different type of way. But I also wanted to offer the opportunity to still be uniform in that. So that's a piece. And then, you know, just other services that I'm learning that I have an interest in. So that's where 4.2 kind of comes into play.
Fantastic. Now, are you doing all these things on the side, or are you doing it while you're working? Like, is it full-time? Is it part-time?
So right now it's part-time because I wanted to give myself time throughout the day to really build my businesses and plan and create the program content for the programs that I have in mind. So I wanted to step away from full-time employment to give myself time to really build my brand.
So you just said something else though there, because somebody may be listening and just say, wait, I thought she just said that she does it part-time, but then you say step away from full-time. So like, what did that look like?
So I decided to step away from my career, which was in social services. to, like I said, give myself time to build my brand. So I decided to take on a part-time job to supplement, to help with some consistent income.
Now, what sparked that decision though? Like, that's a big decision.
It's a huge decision.
Like what sparked the whole idea of, okay, what was like that moment where you was like, you know what, this is what I'm about to do?
If I'm honest, I do not like being told what to do. I don't like it. It doesn't sit well. And not in a like you can't tell me what to do type of thing, but when it is for somebody else's company, that really just started to rub me the wrong way. Just to give you like a little bit of background, and I'm not telling too much by saying this, but the work that I did was funded through the government, right? And so whatever I did work related, that made them money. And it made them a lot of money. So me doing the work that I did and having to follow policy and all of the rule changes and all of the department changes, all of that, it just started to become a lot. And I just did not want to deal with it anymore. So I just got to a point where, let me backtrack. The last job I left, I was there for 5 years. When I got the job, I said to myself, I do not want to be here longer than 5 years. So, and I didn't have a plan. I just knew I didn't want to be there longer than 5 years, So, somewhere in my mind, I knew I wanted to work for myself. I just didn't know how that was going to happen. So I just really reached kind of like a burnout, and I didn't have any more emotion to give to the job. I didn't want to give it any more time. It was very draining, and I made a decision. It was impulsive, but I made it.
Well, was it really impulsive? Like, what makes you say that it was impulsive?
Because I didn't plan. I felt like I could have planned better.
Understood.
Yeah. So the impulsiveness or the impulse behind it was like, okay, I'm leaving in 30 days. I'm going to figure the rest out later.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I wouldn't recommend that, but if you can plan, plan for it. I wouldn't not pursue it because you haven't planned well. But if you have the opportunity and time to plan, I will plan. Yeah,
and to be honest, when it comes to our purpose, it's no one size fits all. Like the principles may be similar, and I will argue that in the same way that like different social media platforms have algorithms, our purpose has an algorithm as well. So there are certain things that you need to feed into your life in order for you to walk in God's will for your life and walk in purpose. Yet at the same time, it's no one size fits all, type thing. It's not like, hey, you just need to leave and do whatever. Because some people are called to do what they're doing and stay at their 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody is not called to be an entrepreneur. Yet at the same time, even if you are called to work and help someone else, with their vision, if you're not doing what God is calling you to do, it's going to be this frustration or this void inside of you to where it may be something similar to what you just said when you were like, you know what, I didn't have no more emotion or energy for them. Or it may be this coworker who's just getting on your neck. Like he'll use whatever he can to try to get your attention. Like, hey, I need you to make this transition because I'm calling you to do something else. And I think the beauty of it is having enough faith to say, you know what, I'm gonna bet on myself. I mean, it's whenever I talk to people, it's a common thing. Well, number one of the common things is grandma tends to always have like an impact, right? On helping guide people. But then number two, is when people really get to that point where they realize like, okay, I'm not gonna wing it. but I'm not going to wait till I have everything figured out either.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
And really having that faith to take a real leap. Because I think about it, a lot of times when people talk about a leap of faith, the way that their actions is more like a step of faith.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's kind of like, it's like, I'm about to take this leap, but they really just take like this little bitty step, you know,
Baby
like,
steps.
it's kind of like, you know how you get in the pool and you trying to put your toe in the water, like, should I get in this pool? Like, no, when you taking a leap of faith, that's jumping all the way in the pool. Like, don't put your toe in there. You jump in the pool and then, you know, then you trust God along the way. And I know it may sound contradictory for those who may be listening at times, but that's how your journey is. Sometimes there's some ambiguity involved. I know I say this all the time, but if you already know all the answers, then it's no longer faith.
Yeah.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, which means there is going to be a level of ambiguity and lack of clarity within your walk. What you don't want to have ambiguity on or lack of clarity on is what I'm pursuing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't want you going down the wrong path, talking about I'm walking by faith and then you heading in the wrong direction. No, make sure you're heading in the right direction. And then, you know, you trust God from there. And the beautiful thing is what you start discovering is when you're in alignment with God and you're in his will, when you take that leap, you may not have everything initially, but then when you start walking, resources start coming. People start coming to you, right? Like different ideas and things that you didn't know initially, but then God reveals something to you, or maybe he puts something in your spirit, right? Where it's like, just as you're just you continue to move forward, it's like, it just started coming to you. You're like, and it starts getting clearer, you know?
And that is true. That is true. Since I have started this part of the journey, God has been providing, and it is blowing my mind. For example, so with United to Bless, I have the toiletry pantry, right? And I started funding that myself, and I didn't mind. I loved it. You know, like, okay, I'm starting a pantry. And just through conversation, people just started donating. One thing I love about God is that he is not the author of confusion. And so he will give you a peace. And when you have that peace, just appreciate it and just thank God for it and just know that, okay, this is a good move, you know, so.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Yeah,
certainly that's a blessing. Now, one thing that I wanted to ask you about is, see if you can explain to some of the people, because I'm aware of some of the beautiful things that you have done through United to Bless, but because you mentioned the pantry, what are some other aspects, that people can learn about with United to Bless and what you got going on? And what are some ways that they can find you? Let's say they may have heard this and say, man, I really want to help her do what God is calling her to do, or, just join the movement or whatnot. How could they, find that website, that you just mentioned, or get in touch with? Maybe they want to, contact you on Instagram. Like what are some things that you guys got going on, and what are some ways that they can contact you?
Okay, some things that we have going on, like I mentioned, we have the toiletry pantry. That's a hygiene and toiletry pantry, and that's there to help anybody in need. It's there to provide temporary relief. I remember growing up sometimes, and even growing up in a 2-family household, sometimes my parents just didn't have it, so we're riding home from somewhere, and my brother and I are like, can we have McDonald's? And my mom is like, no. We need toothpaste, or no, we need deodorant or something. So I wanted to provide a help to families to try to fill that temporary need. So that's the pantry. We also do an annual mid-year school supply drive where we replenish school supplies of students in our communities. Typically, I picked one school to help provide, and God has even just blew my mind with that, because we've done 2 schools so far and it's been an abundance. So the community really comes together to help replenish those school supplies. We not only do school supplies, but we do, one principal told me that they needed lotion, they needed hand sanitizer. So it was all these things to just help keep them, healthy and safe, as well as have their school supplies replenished. We do a coin drive, but we also help families during the holidays through that. And right now, that's it. We have some other things coming up very soon that's really exciting. I'm excited about, and I'll share more about that when I have a little bit more information to give about it. But you can find us on social media at u2b.cle. That's on Instagram and Facebook. And our website is www.unitedtobless.org. Well, I have to say all the W's.
Right. Now the website, is that the number 2 as well? Or is it spelled out?
Spelled out.
It's spelled out.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, it may be somebody, it may be a young Traci listening, right? Or somebody who has similar aspirations, as yourself. What is it that you would tell yourself at the beginning, right? And what is it that you would tell somebody that's trying to do some similar things that you're doing right now? What is like a nugget you think that you would want to share with them at this moment?
At the beginning, I would say don't be afraid. And now where we are, I would say continue. So that's what I would say. And continue boldly. Don't hold back.
Yes, boldly. Come boldly before the throne of grace, Yeah, so I appreciate it tremendously. You may have some apprehension, as it were, but do it scared. Yeah. Do it scared. Do it while, when you're nervous. Still have peace in your spirit, right? But do it even when you're kind of nervous. Move forward, keep going, man, and you'll be amazed on how God is going to work in your life. Listen, my name is Dr. Willie Patton, here again with Traci Brown, and this is the Purpose Experience presented to you by Winning Paradigm, where we help people learn and live in and leverage their God-given purpose. Man, we love you, we appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon. Be blessed.